A fire at a homeless encampment in South Austin is raising safety concerns. How often they see this kind of thing and why AFD says it's more this time of year.
And a pretty quiet stretch of weather for the next few days here in Austin, but that will change by next week, and we'll talk about our next Arctic blast on First Warning Weather.
And fires in California now threatening Los Angeles. Why the forecast is giving firefighters major concern. Good evening, I'm Nabil Ramadna. We start tonight with another fire in Austin. AFD tweeted out at around noon that they were responding to a brush fire near the 6300 block of East Ben White Boulevard, where tires and grass were burning. That fire is out now, but AFD tells us this is a fire in a known homeless encampment. You might have seen the large plume of smoke over the Austin skyline yesterday. It started on a property in South Austin off Peaceful Hill Lane. That's near the intersection of West William Cannon Drive and South Congress Avenue. The Austin Fire Department tells us the cause is still under investigation, but this fire also taking place in a homeless encampment. We spoke to AFD about these encampments to see how often they're responding.
Like, there are several hot spots around town where when the address comes in, we kind of know what we're going to. So yes, and they are we have some north, south, east, and west, and some are pretty well developed. A lot of the fires that we're seeing now, it's been really cold lately, so a lot of the, it's understandable that they're going to try and keep warm. It's just sometimes when they do that, the fire gets out of hand, and then we get a call to go put it out.
And coming up tonight at 10, Sam Stark will have more about these encampment fires. Dangerous fires continue to burn across the Southern California and are now threatening the very center of Los Angeles. Things are critical for the firefighters with strong gusty winds back in the forecast. NBC's Dana Griffin is in the evacuation zone in Los Angeles and joins us with more.
Officials have recently updated the information regarding the fires, and they say that this is still a very active threat. You can see behind us, we've got the California National Guard standing here, preventing people from going inside the neighborhood. And as you walk with us, I want to show you that there are still a lot of firefighting assets even down this road. This is the Mandeville Canyon Road. This is where they had that spot fire pop up yesterday, and that was threatening homes. We know at least one home was lost here, but firefighters really attacked this. They were able to do several water drops, preventing this neighborhood from being further threatened. You've still got more than 100,000 people evacuated, and there are several firefighter crews and assets that are being moved throughout this area. More than 1,000 firefighting resources are here. Officials are reminding people of the hazardous air quality because of that smoke and ash. They recommend people wear P100 masks or respirators and the N95 masks to try to prevent those long-term health issues that can come from being and working in areas like this. Officials say there's no timeline for when people will be allowed inside their homes because it's so dangerous, and they really want to focus the effort on firefighting. There has been some concern with those drones that have been trying to get a look into the fire zone, and officials say that that is preventing them from making airdrops, and they remind people you can be fined up to $75,000 and go to prison for that. You know, several people are still looking for the missing and trying to honor the loved ones. It is going to take a long time for this area to recover. We know that those Santa Ana wind gusts are expected to pick back up starting now through earlier this week, and fire officials will once again have to battle those red flag warnings and those flames under those red flag warnings as conditions here are pretty dire. And as we see more assets moving behind us, again, this is a very active scene. Back to you.
Federal agents are now leading the investigation into at least one of the Los Angeles wildfires. A task force will specifically be looking into how the Pacific Palisades fire started. They've ruled out a lightning strike and are looking into a possible connection between all the fires that broke out during heavy winds. They're also considering arson as a possible cause. The devastation in Southern California from the fires is unimaginable, but today the state's governor signed an executive order hoping to help residents and businesses rebuild quickly. The executive order signed by Governor Gavin Newsom will suspend permitting and review requirements under the California Environmental Quality Act and the California Coastal Act. Governor Newsom also extended protections against price gouging on building materials, storage and services and construction across Los Angeles County until January 2026.
First Warning Weather with meteorologist Tommy House.
Hey, hope you all had a great day today. Here's a check of our pollen count. Cedar and Mulder low. They're both trending up at this hour. Let's talk about the current conditions across the hill country. We'll start off toward Llano County, 57, 55 in Fredericksburg, 57 in San Salvador, Lampasas County, 56. Downtown temps near 60 in Austin, 60 at the airport. How about 63 down in Kyle, 60 in San Marcos, Cedar Park clocking in at 58, as well as Williamson County. And east of I-35, some 50s sprinkled in with some low to mid 60s down toward Fayette County. Round top here at 62. Clouds and radar, not a lot to talk about. We were mostly sunny throughout the day today. Had some morning clouds, but that's since dissipated. We'll stay mostly clear throughout the overnight hours, quickly cooling back down to near freezing for most of us in Central Texas. 54 at 6 p.m., down to 47 by 10 p.m. So we're tracking cooler weather tomorrow. High temperatures in just the low to mid 50s. When will it rain? I'll have answers on that, and we'll talk about the Arctic blast that is on the way. Full details on First Warning Weather.
Thank you, Tommy. A federal investigation into the Tulsa race riot in 1921 that killed as many as 300 black people has concluded. It's too late to bring a criminal case. The report tells the story of a white mob attacking a black community in Tulsa that left more than 300 people dead. The incident also led to the destruction of more than 1,200 homes, businesses, schools, and churches. In recent years, archaeologists have discovered more than 120 graves connected to the massacre. The federal report states the city of Tulsa resisted offers of meaningful help to the victims and utterly failed to provide necessary aid or assistance. The report also says there are credible reports that law enforcement took part in the attack, but the report concluded the people who attacked the black community in 1921 are dead, and the statute of limitations for civil rights charges have expired. President Biden is expected to propose a plan that would limit nicotine levels in cigarettes. The move could come as early as tomorrow. It's a last-ditch effort for the Biden administration to push back against the tobacco industry after failing to finalize a long-standing pledge to ban menthol cigarettes. The proposal is not expected to include tobacco products like e-cigarettes or nicotine replacement patches and lozenges. If the Biden administration releases the proposed rule next week, it would still likely take several years to become final. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, cigarette smoking is the leading cause of preventable disease and death in the United States, killing more than 480,000 people each year. Well, if you have to get orthopedic surgery soon, your doctor could be using AI to help find the procedure's success rate. Dina Baer has how machine learning is making life easier for orthopedic surgeons.
Dr. Brian Cole has performed about 25,000 orthopedic surgeries during his career, fixing up both recreational and professional athletes. His trained eye can easily spot a hurdle.
We might look at the quality of the bone. I might take measurements of cartilage defects.
And now a machine can document and digest all the data he and his colleagues have collected, 30 years worth, in a more objective way.
We're getting much closer to using, for lack of a better term, artificial intelligence, but what we call machine learning, to process all this data, to actually plug it in prospectively, now looking forward, to say this is what you might or could anticipate if you undergo this procedure.
The patient's anatomy factors into the equation.
Here's a little bit of wear in the lateral tibial plateau, articular cartilage, early arthritis.
Clinical research coordinator Yusuf Mufti logs the observations or data points.
For a very simple procedure, I might be collecting maybe 10 data points, right? But if it's very complicated, it can get to 20, 30 plus.
Merging medicine with big data is one of the most promising applications of artificial intelligence. We've watched radiologists use AI to help better detect breast cancers. And in the operating room, a cancer surgeon showed us how he uses the technology to evaluate tumor cells in real time. Now, in orthopedics, it may change how doctors and patients weigh the risks and benefits of a particular procedure.
Success is great, and that's what we're always trying to achieve, but understanding why we fail is actually probably even more important.
While the team considers hundreds of factors, machine learning has taught them the most meaningful.
We've never really used artificial intelligence to take all that data, digest it into an algorithm, and actually see what the predictors are for success and failure.
In their study, doctors at Midwest Orthopedics focused on cartilage procedures.
Now we actually know what the top 5 to 10 variables are.
They include a patient's body mass index, or BMI, how many previous surgical procedures they've had, the length of time they've experienced symptoms, the number of cartilage defects in the joint, and the overall condition of the specific surface area.
If I just focus on the top 5 to 10, I can look at a patient and say, hey, if we decide this is the best surgical solution for you, we can tell you with some degree of certainty what the likelihood of a successful outcome is.
Like humans, the computer models are not perfect.
If you are a patient trying to weigh the risks and benefits, you need good objective information. What you don't want is me saying, well, my gut is that you're going to get this kind of outcome, or anecdotally I can tell you this. Those days have to be in the past.
Well, Dunkin' dropped the donuts from its brand name years ago. Now, at least across Nebraska, New Mexico, and some other states, it doesn't have donuts on the shelves either. Dunkin' stores in Omaha, Lincoln, and Grand Island in Nebraska all had no donuts in their cases Thursday and Friday, and they put up signs on their doors and drive-through kiosks informing customers that the pastries were unable due to manufacturing errors. Employees in Albuquerque said they hoped stocks would be replenished by next week. Plenty of other states remain unaffected. However, one manager said the shortage was a national problem. Tell you what, when I want donuts, there's a few places I go.
Yeah.
Round Rock Donuts runs out of donuts, then I'll be sad. But you're a big Dunkin' Donuts guy.
For the coffee, yeah. And honestly, donuts, my go-to. Shipley's, obviously, was a good one. Their dozen donut holes are tremendous. I grew up on the Dunkin' Donuts, but I've learned as you move farther down south, the quality outside of Boston kind of goes down a little bit.
Not here.
I mean, compared to Round Rock and Shipley's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Backtracking.
I still love the coffee there. Some people like the donuts more. It just depends on the person.
I'll tell you what, I think I've had too many donuts. I'm starting to...
This suit's feeling a little tight since the holiday. I don't know what's going on. They keep putting them in the break room. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what's going on. Here's the current conditions right now. We'll talk about some of this rain that's down toward the Houston metro area and southern parts of Louisiana. That's a coastal low, but notice most of Texas is dealing with mostly clear conditions today. We had sunshine sticking around throughout the entirety of your Sunday, and that coastal low is going to move to the east and no impacts at all for the Austin area. From that, we'll be mostly clear tonight. All right, 59 right now in Austin. Computer's having a little bit of trouble with the cameras here, so bear with me. 50s down to the 40s by the end of the evening. So bundle up. It is going to be cold. Here's how it's going to look tomorrow morning. Kicking off near freezing, 36 in Austin, 34 in Georgetown. Some 20s out toward the hill country, 29 in Llano and San Saba. How about Mason County at 27? East of I-35 in the upper 30s. High temperatures by the afternoon hours tomorrow. 40s and 50s, maybe toward the hill country. You may stay in the 40s toward Lampasas, but farther east toward Fayette, Lee, and Milam County will stay in the mid-50s there. Here's how it looks on clouds and radar overnight tonight through the day tomorrow. We'll start off with a little bit of some cloud cover, more toward the lakes in the hill country. And then by the afternoon hours, we'll see a little bit more clouds continue to build in from the south. And then overnight Monday into your Tuesday, that's when mostly cloudy conditions will begin to persist Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll also be gusty. That's from the cold front that moved through earlier today, gusting up to 20 miles per hour at times. Nothing too crazy there. And rain coverage will be dry for the next 4 days. And then by Friday and Saturday, notice that 20% chance of rain on Friday, back down to 10% on Saturday. The GFS models, they aren't really too confident on this happening. Most of it's just in eastern Texas and Louisiana at the moment, toward Houston and the coastline. And we'll see if this does change. We'll have updates for you, but pretty low confidence at just 20% rain chance there. Now let's talk about temperatures. Bit of a warm up each day, kind of like a staircase up till Friday. How about 70 on Friday? But then notice this, from 70 back down to 50 Friday through Sunday. Big time Arctic blast is on the way for much of the lower 48. Colder than normal temperatures from the 20th. That's next Monday through the 25th, 26th. So it's going to be around for several days on end. Here's the weather pattern. We'll talk about a pretty zonal flow the next few days, which means nothing really to talk about. No winter storms, no cold air through next Friday. But how about Saturday into Sunday? Big trough digs deep, spilling some chilly temperatures, which means freezing overnight lows could return for Texas next week, not this upcoming week. Tonight, 36. Tomorrow, back up into the 50s. A little bit cooler in comparison to what we had for today's high temperatures. All right, your first warning weather 7-day forecast will keep that 50 trend for a few days. Those lows will stay in the 30s and then back up to near 70 on Friday. And then there's the front moving through. And I think 50 is a little bit too generous on the warm side. There's a little bit of a chance that we could get back down just to the mid-40s next week, and overnight lows could return to the 20s. So more chilly airs on the way, but for those who like the warm weather, Thursday and Friday are your day. Maybe some showers then, and next weekend, big temperature swings from the 70s to the 50s.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good afternoon, all. Happy Sunday. The SEC is elite.
maybe overall, but specifically in women's basketball, as is Texas. And today they got the class of the league, where their head coach, Vic Schaefer, said they're going to learn something about their group. I think they did today in South Carolina, facing the perennial power. Start with Rory Harmon as the first bucket of the game for the Texas veteran. And that was Texas's largest lead of the game, 2-0. Madison Booker, the star sophomore, not her best game. Missed her first 10 shots, ended up 3 of 19. Vic Schaefer's crew did not have their best day really on either end. Second quarter, Joyce Edwards for this Gamecock team inside. And when you see the score, it got worse from there at a lot of points. But Texas trying to make things interesting, down 16 in the fourth quarter. Brianna Preston, one of the star youngsters, leads a 7-0 run early in the fourth. But Sanaya Fagan here, one of the many big plays for South Carolina. They win this one 67-50, first conference loss for Vic Schaefer's crew. Women just played number 2 in the country. Texas men had number 1 in town a day ago before playing number 2 earlier in the week. Rick Barnes and Tennessee, top-ranked team for the time being. A lot of comparisons between a guy he coached, Kevin Durant in Burnt Orange, and a current freshman, thank you ESPN for this natural cut, Trey Johnson. So people talking about, is Trey Johnson the Texas freshman like Kevin Durant in any way? Well, Texas lost, but Trey Johnson balled out as he normally does. A game-high 26 a day ago on 11 of 17 from the floor. No doubt this freshman is special, but Barnes, who's now seen both play in person, says slow down on the whole KD comp.
I have
Trey Johnson and KD.
Great respect for Trey, but you can't compare players. You can't. It's not fair to him. I mean, one guy's got a 7'6" wingspan. You know, you can't compare him to. You go down the line. I mean, he is a terrific shot maker for a young guy. I mean, I tell you what I do like about him was his mindset. I didn't think KD didn't flinch. I didn't think he did. That's the one thing I would say I was impressed with him.
Welcome back. Late news for the Longhorns. Offensive tackle Kelvin Banks heading to the NFL. No surprise, their projected top 10 pick. As for Texas, coming off that heartbreaking loss against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, this the play that really defined the game and perhaps Texas's season. Only team to make the playoffs back-to-back seasons. These are kind of the images that will resonate with Texas fans for a little while. But once they can get past the heartbreak, the sting of Friday night, there's clear improvement year over year for this Texas team. Made it to the semifinals 2 years in a row and put up one heck of a fight against a very talented Ohio State team. Yeah, this Texas team is going to lose a lot of talent, Banks included, but some of the leaders and veterans on both sides of the ball that they don't expect to be back know there's a bright future.
It's going to be amazing for these guys, and the reason they're going to be amazing because Coach Sark and what he's about. It's nothing about football. It's none of it. It's culture and who you are as a person. I know he tells y'all guys all the time, but as soon as he got here, our GPAs got better. I mean, he pushed me to graduate. I know that was hard on him.
Growing up as a Longhorn and being able to play for the Longhorns and see us, going to back-to-back, semi-final games has been cool to be a part of, and I hope we made the fans proud with our performances this year.
To the Houston Texans, they're going to face the Kansas City Chiefs because the Buffalo Bills won today. C.J. Stroud, quarterback, outstanding a day ago, and his confidence continues to grow.
Guys, I'm playing more. Everybody's coming to me and just telling me how much they trust me and, that they think I'm the best in the league. And when you hear that, guys in the NFL just don't say that lightly. And, when the other side of the ball is, really good, like you say, and they're, giving you your props and stuff, that, is motivational to keep going.
Texans Chiefs next week.
Playoff football in full swing. Pretty cool to see NFL, and you still got college, so a lot going on.